first go at this. We're going to videotape presentations, hoping we can put them up on the school website so that other people in the community want to know about these kinds of things, they can see it, and also, as so happens, one of our board members is here tonight, and can watch it, and so. Maybe. You might have to sign off. Is it okay, Darlene, if it's on the school website?
I don't know, I kind of like being in the spotlight, so I'm okay. Somebody else is usually in the spotlight, not
Yes.
us.
It should be right in the copy.
Are we ready? Should I start?
If you go up here.
Are you ready? You're good? Okay. I'm passing a packet around, and TIES, as you can see, it stands for Together Including Every Student. And I highlighted the word including, because I think it's something that most of us here in this room would probably take for granted. We walk into school every day, we're part of a group, and we're accepted. It's an important piece to our society, to school, to our students to be included. Have you ever been in a situation where you've walked into a gathering, a social gathering, and you walked into the room and you're looking around and you're like, oh boy, I don't know anybody here, you know? So then you know that little stomach butterfly and you have to go and meet people. Well, we all have the tools to go up and introduce ourselves, and we have those skills. Even most of our student body has those skills. They've learned them through their parents, through being in the school situation. But students with disabilities may not possess those types of skills. So mom or dad or their siblings accompany them to those kinds of events. They navigate them through normal everyday situations and interactions that we take for granted. Our school provides Saturday quests once a month in the elementary building. We have middle school, high school dances. We have sporting events. In that community, we have 4-H clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. And if there's a student with a disability, many times a parent has to go to those events with their student with a disability. That's not the average situation for the average student. So at these events, our participants see that no one else's parents are there, but their mom or dad's there. So do they feel included? Probably not, because they're not only dealing with their disability, which may be setting them apart from the rest of their peers, but they're also dealing with, they've got mom and dad sitting next to them too, and nobody else does. So, TIES has a volunteer program where we train young students, Garrison Hunt and Sierra Garcia are two of our volunteers, to go to those events so that moms and dads are not doing it. It's a normal inclusion part of everybody's day. You know, when your children go to an event, they go with their friends. You know, yes, sometimes mom and dad go along, but not to be with them because they just want to go. So our volunteers complete a training session, so they're prepared to work with students with disabilities. And when they attend an event, or I send them with a support plan so that the strategies can be followed if there's things that need to be done with the student, so that the event is, you know, there's no situation that would occur that the volunteer couldn't deal with. The facilitator's in charge, and like at Quest, the facilitator would be Becky Kay. Our volunteer would go, meet the participant at the school, go in and do the function with the student, or not do the function with the student, just be there for the student if they needed them, in place of mom or dad. And for a lot of our participants, that is the world. The very first year I was a TIES coordinator, the very first TIES volunteer I trained was Jordan Welch. And I asked her if she would attend a middle school dance with one very wonderful young lady that just had a lot of needs. And Jordan went. And it was the first time this girl didn't go with her mom or her dad, and she was just so happy. And then the next Monday in school, she's running down the hall and she sees Jordan, and she's yelling at everybody, "There's my best friend Jordan!" And Jordan's like, they're giving her a high five. She felt included. She felt like, you know what, I'm now a part of this. It was a wonderful thing to witness, by the way. So our participants get to go and do things that everybody else gets to do in a normal way. They're included. Garrison and Sierra have done activities with our participants. Sierra will tell you, I didn't do anything. I just went to the activity that Mrs. K organized, having somebody come in and do karate lessons. But what she did was she was there providing support for this student who didn't physically need her to be there other than in case he needed somebody, but mom and dad didn't need to be there. Mom and dad were able to go out and have a cup of coffee while somebody else was making sure their son was able to be included and socialize and have fun and learn this karate stuff. And so even though she doesn't think she did much, she provided a lot of support. Garrison has worked with a student in the high school who is autistic. And during some downtime, some free time, the student needs assistance, navigating social situations. And he has helped a student in many situations navigate and bridge a gap that's difficult for the student to bridge. So I brought this activity that I would like you all to, oh actually it's in the back of your packets, the very last sheet in your packet. It's the Circle of Funds activity. This is one of the training things I do, and that person in the middle is you, okay? So in the outside circle, if you would just write a couple of names of acquaintances, and by acquaintances, maybe somebody that, serves you your Dunkin' Donuts coffee cup that you see regularly, that kind of acquaintance. Didn't expect me to be doing this, did you? Oh, I have to do it. What you guys want to do?
Tell them it's not graded, and they'll be less stressed. Tell them it's not graded, and they'll be less stressed about it.
Yeah, it's
And
not
see the
graded.
fear in their
Yeah,
eyes.
it's not graded. Don't worry about it, no spelling checks, nothing. Okay, and so the next circle, your friends. Now, friends that you do occasional things with, those people like, my husband golfs 3 times a year when these tournaments, and he golfs with these same buddies. He only sees them those 3 times a year, that kind of friendship, And then the next inner circle, the confidant in your life, the person who, or the people that you confide and tell your secrets to, that you know that you can trust. And then the next circle is your innermost circle, the people that are there for you no matter what. That you know you can count on no matter what the situation is. Okay. Now, would you mind flipping over those papers I just handed to you? This is typically what our participants fill in when we have them fill in these circles. That outside ring, those acquaintances, are people that live in the doctor's office. And many of them go to OT, PT, eye doctors, audiologists. I mean, they go to a lot of doctor's appointments. They get to meet people in these offices. Then the next circle, the people that they call their friends. They could, call on a couple of times a year. They're building principals. The next, the people that they consider their confidants, people they tell their secrets to. Their teachers, their bus driver, their lunchroom attendants, and their therapists. And then their innermost circle is their family, their doctors, and their case managers. All of these people are paid to be with these people, with the exception of their families. How many people on your list are being paid to be with you? So, ties includes everybody. Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, these two are prepared to, although Sierra will tell you, I did nothing. But anyways, please feel free to ask any questions that you have.
How many students do we have in ties?
Participants, right now I have 6 registered, and I'm getting more applications in because we just send out the applications and letters at the beginning of the school year. We send out 101 letters, right around 100 every year, and we usually get between 6 to 12 applications back.
Can you explain the application process a little bit?
Yeah, it's a pretty generic application form, you know, your child, the parents' names, your child's disability medication, what are your child's interests, what activities do they not get to do that they would like to participate in. It's basically just getting to know what the parents' viewpoint of their child is. And then getting the application to me. I do a phone interview with the parents, I meet with the child, and then I decide who I think would line up volunteer-wise for an activity. And because the parents will call me and say, oh, so-and-so wants to go to the middle school dance. So I'll line up somebody to go with them to the middle school dance.
How
And
do we communicate outward
what do you mean?
To the families?
to the families?
That's what Darlene sends a letter every fall. The 100 letters she sends out was to families of children who have disabilities. So I provide her with a list,
Okay.
and she sends out a letter to those families.
Okay.
But what I want to really kind of emphasize is, as far as TIES is concerned, we try to fly under the radar. We try not to, you know, with the neon lights, say, here we are, because we don't want to do that to these kids.
Okay.
Because some of them do it to themselves enough. They don't need us to draw more attention to them. But we do send out the letters at the beginning of every school year. And I do go to meetings and talk to parents in certain groups too, to try to educate and let them know that we are here. So,
How many volunteers do you have?
we have 5. We had 1 graduate last year. So I will be training more, recruiting and training more. A lot of times I go to NJHS and NHS students because they need the volunteer time and they like to. I gotta tell you, I have never been denied by any one of these kids in this school district when I've said, I think you make a great volunteer. What do I have to do? All right, I'll do it. And they always just step up to the plate in this district. So we're very blessed here.
What's the training like? What are the students, looking for the training?
It's about an hour after school one afternoon, and I have a CD, and it goes through basically what the relationship between the TIES participant and the TIES volunteer looks like, because it's videotaped past TIES participants, volunteers doing activities together. So they can kind of see, oh yeah, they are just sitting together watching a basketball game. Oh yeah, they are just swimming an open swim night together. Oh, they're just doing everyday activities. And that kind of really sets volunteers then, at ease, like, oh, it kind of looks like it'd be fun. And then we talk about strategies, and I give them a booklet, a handbook of strategies to use with working with students with disabilities. So, and because I write a support plan with the parents for each student, for each activity that they go to, the students have access to that, and I go over what to do if, when you're out in an activity with a participant. This is what you need to do, and here's the facilitator. So if there's an issue, you go to the facilitator. They all have my cell phone number, and I make sure that I'm available when they're at an activity, so that if I need to be there, they can just call me and I'll come right and meet with them.
So how often, like how many times a week or a month or whatever, are you having participants and volunteers doing things?
It depends on what's going on in the district. During the fall and then the spring, we do a program in Livonia called the Drumming Circle. And this is basically for students that are more involved physically with a handicapping condition. But we send a volunteer over because we do have a student from Geneseo that participates. So we do that weekly for 6 weeks in fall and the spring. And then we do a cooking class in Avon, this a few times a year too. And here in Geneseo, our participants and our volunteers will go to, like I said, the basketball game class. 2 years ago, I had a volunteer going to math and science club in the elementary school with an elementary school student monthly or I can't remember how often they met. It was a couple of years ago, but whatever the activity is, the parents get a hold of me and say, my child wants to do this. Can you provide a volunteer? So it's kind of random. I don't go out and ask the parents, do you want your child to do this? It's the parents calling me saying, you know, so-and-so would like to do this activity, is there a possibility to consider volunteer? So,
So it's Garrison Zero, what do you think? I mean, how does it, what's it like for you guys and being volunteers?
Like I said, like she said, I guess, I didn't really feel like I did much, but he seemed to be, like the kid I was watching seemed to enjoy themselves. I don't know if they might not have enjoyed themselves, might have like looked over to try to like find their parents a lot if I wasn't there. So in that way, it might have helped just me being there in the first place to help him feel more confident in himself.
It's just, it's nice work to do, it's great to see the other student, connect to you, and you forgot to mention whether that, that you can the ties people don't just do it, after school, they can also participate during school with the student, and that's what I do with a person in my class.
So does that mean you stay with one student through the year?
Well, last year is when I mostly worked with a student, and I would be in most of his classes unless I was otherwise, with my schedule, could not be there. So most of my periods I was with this one student.
and not that he followed the student.
Yeah, I don't follow
mean,
them.
it was like if there was cafeteria downtime, you know, there was a study hall, he would just bridge any communication, socialization difficulties that a student might have.
Were there any surprises during the course of the year working with one person in that way?
Surprises? Only when they get this person got super excited. That's when you just need to calm them down. But they're really they do a wonderful job, and they just so happy that you're willing to be with them. That's the benefit of it. No true surprises.
Well, thank you for volunteering,
Yes.
guys, that's really